Alrighty. Hello, everyone. My name is Oakley Lustenberger, and for my Religion 354 presentation, I decided to research Norse, also known as Germanic occultism. Um, this religion was originally passed down through storytelling, poems, and ballads before any written works were discovered or made. And this religion originally stems from an area called Scandinavia, and this area includes countries like Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Those who identified with these beliefs were referred to as the North Germanic people during pre-Christian times, and once Christian times came around, what they believed in was now known as paganism. Um, Throughout this presentation, you'll notice that a lot of this could be like the gods and like their jobs or domains can be easily compared to other polytheistic religions like Greek or Roman. And if you watch Marvel movies, you'll catch a lot of like ping words from movies like Thor or even the Avengers movies. So I thought that was fun. Just as other religions, the Norse people believed in a beginning of time. And in the beginning, there was only this fathomless void, and it was known as Ginnungagap, and it stretched from the land of the shadows and ice in the north to the land of fire to the south. Through the south ran these rivers, and they stopped once they reached the north, in which they would turn instead to these large masses of ice. And when the winds from the south came in contact with these large ice masses, some of the water would melt off. And what the winds did, once this water melted off, they would reform the water, and it became the frost giant Ymir. And in the same process, created the cow Aumla, and Aumla's milk fed Ymir. In this painting, you'll see this is Aumla, this is Ymir. So after Ymir drank Aumla's milk, he began to sweat, and in the sweat of his left underarm, a man and a woman formed. And then one foot, with help from the other foot, in a very interesting and slightly confusing process, gave rise to a son. Then Aumla licked the ice that she and Ymir came from, and from that she begat a son who could reproduce in the same way that Ymir could. The son's name was Buri, and he had a son, Bur, who married a descendant of Ymir, whose name was Bestla, and together they begat three gods, Odin, Vili, and Ve. And just like in other ancient polytheistic religions, the gods usurped Ymir, they killed him, and from his remains they constructed this new world. What marked the finishing of this world was when they placed dwarves at each corner of the world. So this world was split into different categories. This was what I found to be a really good representation of what a lot of what I was reading was describing. So there's the world Mio-Goror, which is translated to the middle enclosure, and that is the world of men. That would be our world. Then there's Askaror, which is translated to enclosure of Aesir, and that is the world of gods. Now, Mio-Goror and Askaror are connected by this beautiful rainbow bridge. You can see that over here, and that is called the Aspru, or also known as the Bifrost. Then there's Utgaror, and that is translated to outer enclosure. And this is the world of giants, demons, and any other malevolent evil creature. Below Mjolnir is the realm of the dead, and that is ruled by Hel. H-E-L, not H-E-L-L. Female goddess. Moving on. There has to be something that holds this universe together, just like the axis is what our Earth spins on. So, according to the Norse culture, there was a cosmic tree called Yggdrasil, and it is the vertical axis that secures the universe. It is a magical cosmic tree. You can see that right in the middle here. Then it's not depicted here, but there is what's called the Mjolnirstormer, and that is translated to the Midgard serpent. It's a giant venomous sea serpent that's coiled around the earth, and that secures the horizontal axis. Honorable mention is a hall in Asgore. It's called Valhalla, and it is the Hall of Slain Warriors. That will come into play a little bit later on. So as far as gods go, there are two main families, but the Aesir family is the more prominent main family in this culture. At the head is Odin, and he is known as the inventor of all arts, the guide of every road and journey, and the greatest influencer of all money making and money traffic. He is the supreme god and chieftain of the divine pantheon. He is married to a goddess named Frigg. I know this is the actor from, the Marvel series, and I picked it because they actually did a really good job depicting what Odin is supposed to look like. They got him the scraggly beard and the eye patch from his eye and the horns on his helmet, and they just did a really good job. So I felt that was appropriate to pick that. So Odin has children, and he has it with, a plethora of other divine beings, not just his wife, like many others divine beings throughout the cultures. There's Balder, who drives away diseases. There's Tyr, who rules over justice and world order. Thor, who's the emperor of the heavens and the god of thunder. Heimdallr, who's the guardian of the gods and watches over the Bifrost. And then Loki. So a lot of people, in your day-to-day will believe that Loki is just this, mischievous little guy, but in actuality, he's what the Norse believed to be the true embodiment of evil. He is a troublemaker to the core, and even known as the sower of discord. So, yeah. The other family that I had, touched on is known as the Vanir family, and the father of this family is Njord, and he has two kids who are more centralized to the family than he is really. They're twins. The male is Freyr, and he's the main god, and he rules over rains, sunshine, and plant life. And then there's Freya, who's depicted in this piece of art here, and she is the goddess of life and death, battle, fertility, and black magic. So she has a pretty, wide domain. You'll notice that these gods take on, these realms of power or domains that really have to do with the human condition. So any event or anything to do with humans is really like controlled by these gods. So, as there is a beginning of the gods, there is also the end, and it is known as Ragnarok, which is translated to the final destiny of the gods. Excuse me. Ragnarok is this huge final battle where, the gods and malevolent beings make their final stand. Um, just like in other cultures, there are specific signs that signal, the heralding of Ragnarok. And it begins with 3 winters where the sun doesn't shine. It's then followed by 3 more winters in which these large battles occur where fathers and sons slay one another. And this is significant because, fathers and sons are supposed to have this connection, and they're the people who continue the family lines. And without, the males of the family, there's really no way to continue the line. So that's why that's significant. Then Skull, who is, this like big wolf, will eat the sun, and his counterpart Hades, who's also a wolf, will eat the moon. Then there will be these big earthquakes, and they'll uproot trees and collapse mountains and cause just general destruction of the earth. Then Fenrir, the wolf, who you will see in actually a lot of other myths and legends and cultures and things like that. With his name's Fenrir, and he's some wolf, werewolf, evil being. You'll see him pop up a lot. But anywho, he will break from his bonds and open his jaw from the heavens to the earth, ready to devour, everything across the land. Then the sea will flood over the earth, and the Midgard serpent will, move from its original place, or surrounding the earth, and it will wash ashore and spew its venom over everything in sight. And the sea will, flood the earth. So then there's this boat called Naglfar, and it was constructed from the fingernails and toenails of the dead. And at the helm of the ship will be one of 2 people. It is more widely known that Loki will be at the helm, driving Naglfar. Some also believe that a giantess will be at the helm, but it would be very like Loki to, herald this evil boat into the final battle. It's appropriate. And then finally, the giants, which are, very evil beings, with Surtur at the lead, they will move to the plains of the final battle. And Odin and his family, the Aesir, in their battle armor, along with all the deceased warriors of Valhalla. They'll pass through all 540 gates of Valhalla in rows of 800 and meet the giants on the battlefield. Each god is destined to fight one particular being, and in a very specific way, each will be the downfall of the other. So, everyone has a predestined end. So this will be the end of the gods, but not to worry, it is not the end of the world. There is renewal to come. So there will be very few, but still there will be survivors of Ragnarok, and they will feed on the morning dew the day after the battle, and lit the world now being lit by the daughter of the sun, since the sun itself was devoured by Skull. Those survivors will repopulate the earth. So yeah, that is an overview of Norse occultism. I hope you enjoyed. I really enjoyed researching it. It was very interesting, and thank you very much.